I have been thinking about something lately, and honestly, I still don't know exactly what to make of it. A little while ago, I reconnected with someone I hadn't seen in over 50 years. When I tell you I was excited, I really mean it. This wasn't someone I had forgotten about. He had been part of a chapter of my life that I had carried with me all these years. Back then, we spent a lot of time together. People used to ask if we were dating. We never really did date. In fact, I remember him once saying that if we dated and then broke up, we'd probably never be friends again. I even remember him asking me if it was okay if he dated my younger sister. It's funny the things we remember. Life happened, and the way life does, and somehow we lost touch. I don't even know exactly when or how. One day we were part of each other's lives, and then we weren't. So when we decided to meet for coffee after all these years, I was excited, maybe a little nervous too. I think I had built up this idea in my mind that we were both opening the same old scrapbook and flipping through the same pages. And the funny thing is, the coffee time itself was lovely. There weren't any awkward silences. We talked easily. We laughed and we hugged when we met and hugged again when he dropped me off. I remember saying we should do this again sometime. A couple days passed, so I sent him a text explaining that I had a really great time and talking to him was like we had never not talked. But there was one thing that completely caught me off guard. At some point in our conversation, he mentioned that he didn't really remember me all that much. I don't think I reacted in the moment because I was too surprised. I remember thinking, what do you mean you don't remember me that much? I was really kind of shocked because in my mind, we had been close as friends. Maybe it wasn't for years and years, but during that time of life, we were constantly together. People thought we were a couple. I had spoken about him throughout my life. He had made enough of an impression on me that 50 years later, I was genuinely happy to sit across from him over coffee. And yet, there he was telling me that he didn't remember me the same way. I have to admit, I've thought about that a lot since then. Not because it hurt my feelings the way you might think. The more I've sat with it, the more I've realized something. It actually hasn't changed the value of that friendship for me at all. I still remember it the same way I always have. I still remember the conversations, the time spent together, the ease of the friendship, and the feeling that this person mattered to me. During that chapter of my life, those memories are still precious to me. His not remembering them the same way doesn't erase mine. My memory is still my reality of that time. His memory is his reality of that time. Neither one of us is necessarily wrong. It just surprised me. That's all. And if I'm being honest, it fascinates me. How do two people stand in the very same moments and walk away carrying different versions of them? What makes one person remember someone 50 years later with warmth and detail, while the other remembers only bits and pieces? Is it personality? Is it that some people naturally revisit the past while others don't? Or is it that certain experiences shape one person more deeply than they shape another? Was I going through something at that age that made those friendships feel bigger and more meaningful to me? I honestly don't know. But I find myself really curious about it. I think most of us assume that the people who matter to us remember us in the same way we remember them. Maybe that's because we think memories are facts. But maybe memories are more like stories. Not stories we've made up, but stories, little stories that filter through who we were at the time, what we noticed, what we needed, and what touched us and what stayed with us to become our stories. Maybe two people can share the exact same experience and still live two very different emotional realities. I don't know if I'll ever completely understand why that happens. What I do know is that this whole experience has made me look at people a little differently. It has made me wonder how many times I've been a major character in someone else's story without realizing it. And how many people have been major characters in mine without ever knowing it. I suppose that's one of the mysteries of being human. We walk through each other's lives, often having no idea of the impact we've had. And sometimes 50 years later, we sit across from someone over coffee and discover that the same chapter was written a little differently in each of our hearts. I still don't have an answer. I just know that I left that coffee date with more questions than I arrived with. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's what these conversations are really about. Not finding all the answers, but becoming curious enough to ask better questions. So now I'm curious about something. Have you ever met someone from your past and realized that the two of you remember the same time in your lives very differently? And did it change what that relationship meant to you? Or did it simply leave you wondering, like it did me, about the strange and beautiful way our memories shape the stories we carry through our lives?